Jackie Dean.
Mr Chair, perhaps I might start with a geography lesson for Trevor Mallard, because clearly he and other members of the Labour caucus don't know the South Island terribly well, because their presence down there isn't notable. In fact, Temuka is part of the Rangitata seat held by the most excellent Joe Goodhue, who is doing a wonderful job down in Rangitata. And my own electorate of Waitaki goes around that area and contains a lot of the middle of the South Island. In fact, there is a member in the House who did have designs on that electorate but seems to have given up. But perhaps that's another story for another day. Mr Chairman, although we can talk about it now, Mr Chairman, what I am going to do with this Rugby World Cup empowering bill in this committee stage is perhaps continue with the theme of the geography lesson, which is clearly so well needed by the members opposite. And what I'm going to do is talk about the member said...
How many games are there going to be in Waitaki?
Well, thank you so much. That was Trevor Mallard asking me the most wonderful question, because that leads me on to what I want to talk about in my contribution. The question is, and really highlights the ignorance of Trevor Mallard, who lives somewhere in the North Island, goodness knows where. Well, his constituents certainly don't. And the question was, how many games are going to be held in the electorate of Waitaki? And the answer is, I tell you what's going to be held in the electorate of Waitaki, and it's the Golden Oldies Rugby Festival, which is going to be part of the Rugby World Cup Festival celebrations. That is good news. That is good news for regional New Zealand, and that is exactly the spirit of this Rugby World Cup empowering bill. So I want to thank Trevor Mallard, who is woefully ignorant about the geography of the South Island, as is his colleague who's given up on the electorate of Waitaki. But I can tell you, I am committed to the Waitaki electorate, and I'm very excited about the opportunity that the Rugby World Cup presents to the provinces of New Zealand. Those of us who are committed to the provinces are taking full advantage of the opportunity which has been given to us through the Rugby World Cup, and which has its voice in the Rugby World Cup empowering bill. And I'm just going to start in the northern part of the South Island, in Nelson, which of course is the electorate of Nick Smith, the most excellent Member of Parliament for Nelson, has been for many years. And he has been working closely with his local authority, the Nelson District Council, or the Nelson City Council, I should say, who are really on top of their game in terms of the Rugby World Cup and the opportunities that presents. And so I visited them last week, as do many national members of Parliament, because we're a very busy caucus, and was able to visit with the City Council. They are grasping the opportunity of the Rugby World Cup. They are speaking to their community, they are speaking to their business community, they are hosting a couple of teams, and I invite Trevor Mallard to name them.
Which one?
No, he doesn't know, but I can tell the House those two teams are Italy and the United States of America. I'm sorry that Trevor Mallard is so out of touch, but clearly this side of the House we aren't. And so Nelson is taking full advantage of the opportunities that have been presented to them. I just want to go a little bit further south now to Waitaki and to the town of Oamaru, which is my hometown. And we are hosting the Golden Oldies Festival of Rugby. It will be the Waitaki Wasps versus the rest of the world. Now, if that isn't a small community taking full advantage of the opportunities that the Rugby World Cup is presenting, then I don't know what is. Well, you know, I cannot speak for the opposition, but what I can say is that government, members of Parliament, are fully behind the Rugby World Cup, are fully behind the opportunity which the Rugby World Cup presents, and are fully behind the intention of the Rugby World Cup 2011 empowering bill. Mr Chair, the opportunities that are being presented by this to the North Otago Rugby Union, which is a small but I have to say very successful rugby union, on account of we are contesting the Meads Cup against Wanganui next Saturday, and I wouldn't mind wagering a chocolate fish with anybody that we are going to be successful, is one of those small rugby unions which are taking the mettle. Yes, well, Mr Borrows, and I'm very willing to wager a chocolate fish with Mr Borrows any time, because he is another Member of Parliament fully committed to his own electorate of Wanganui.
I call the Honourable